International football is at a crossroads. While Saudi Arabia began preparation for the 2034 FIFA World Cup, 9 other member nations across 4 continents will continue preparation for the preceding 2 men's tournaments. It feels like some things are changing and others are staying the same. So what's going on in international football? What does it tell us about the future of the game? And what are some of the good things still going on in the international space? So more than most, I love international football. World Cups, qualifiers, international friendlies, or even watching at home, I'm all in. Just last month, I was at Wembley for a friendly between England and Australia. Some called it boring, but not me. International football to me isn't just about the day out or travelling somewhere new. It's about the impact that goes way beyond the pitch. The fact that a goal can trigger a national holiday, that one country qualifying for a major tournament can be just as significant as another winning it. And the fact that every few years the entire eyes of the world are watching the same thing. And that's what makes these events such a powerful tool. When it comes to improving your global reputation, the impact of successfully hosting a major sporting event is massive. The term sports washing gets thrown up a lot these days, but it isn't new, and examples of it go as far back as Berlin hosting the 1936 Olympic Games. To take something that the world loves more than anything else and attach it to your country is a powerful thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Moscow. Our aircraft has just landed at Sheremetyevo.
Back in 2018, I actually went to Russia for the World Cup. In the lead up to the tournament, there was a lot said about how dangerous and unsafe the place was. But by the time I left, I was thinking maybe I was wrong. And I wasn't the only one. It's why nations, especially those with poor human rights records, are often willing to go to such lengths to host World Cups. And it's a part of why Saudi Arabia were so eager to host the 2034 edition. If you don't already know, Saudi Arabia is on a mission at the moment to change their reputation away from a rich oil nation dependent on fossil fuels to a nation that is richly ingrained in business, sport, and culture across the world. That's why they're spending so much on bringing the best sporting events and players to their country. Now, Saudi Arabia, at least more than Qatar, does have a history of playing the game at an international level, but to most, the way they've been awarded the tournament does feel odd. It was an unopposed bid, helped by FIFA rules that stipulated that no countries from Europe, Africa, South, or North America could bid due to involvement in other hosting. Saudi Arabia's human rights record is in breach of FIFA's own rules. And it means we're set for another controversial Winter World Cup. A tournament 11 years away locked in, while the host of the next Women's World Cup is yet to even be announced. But why would FIFA, who have supposedly been on a mission to cleanse their own reputation, want this to happen? The reason you'll see officially the most is expansion of the game, but when you consider that big Middle Eastern sponsors and TV deals buoyed Qatar 2022 to record revenue levels, it's a fair assumption that Saudi 2034 will generate far more revenue than any other competing host could. This is especially likely when you consider the expansion of the World Cup, which from 2026 is set to have 16 more teams, 40 more matches, go for 2 more weeks, and generate 50% more revenue. So what does this actually tell us about the future of the international game? Well, first of all, it shows us that despite FIFA undergoing extensive reform, the process of bidding to host these major events is as political as ever. In fact, the chief of Norway's FA, Lise Klaveness, has recently become one of the first to speak out about the lack of transparency involved in the awarding of 2030 and 2034. I do think it's fair to assume, based on all of this, that less and less are we going to see these hosts awarded purely on merit, and more are we going to see it happen to suit a few stakeholders. As much as I do fear for an expanded tournament and the lack of transparency around what makes a worthy host, I am convinced there are still good things waiting in the future of international football. For one, the expansion of tournaments has the potential to allow more nations to be involved in hosting the greatest event in sport. Look at Morocco and Portugal as just two examples of countries that absolutely love the game, have never hosted a World Cup, yet will now have that opportunity. And then there's the opportunity an expanded tournament will now give countless smaller nations to enjoy the thrill of a World Cup for the first time. We've seen plenty of that over the last decade with an expanded Euros. The scenes we're going to see in countries qualifying for the World Cup for the first time are going to be incredible. And then there's also plenty of amazing stuff happening in international football at each international break. Look at Scotland qualifying for just their second major tournament in 2 decades, or Venezuela ending Brazil's 7-year home winning run with a bicycle kick, or San Marino scoring their first goal in 2 years against world number 18, Denmark. These stories are happening around us all the time, and to me they're worth celebrating because as much as the game changes and major events might be used for gain off the pitch, the memories that come from these events are always going to belong to the fans that make them the spectacle they are. The World Cup! The future of international football is definitely hard to predict, but so is football at club level. Sport and politics are going to be intertwined for some time longer. For the time being, all us fans can do is buckle up for the ride. If you enjoyed this, there's an amazing series on Copper 90 called The Real International Break, which does a great job of going in depth into just how much is going on every time the international break rolls around. Let me know your concerns as well as what you're optimistic about when it comes to the international game, and let me know whether you'll be getting out to support your national team in the lead up to upcoming major tournaments.